What's up, YouTube? It's your boy Nash here. Welcome back to the channel. Can you guys actually believe, right? Can you guys believe that this is the last day of 2022? It's so hard to believe. And not only that, but it's even more harder to believe that this is the last video that I'm going to be making of the entire year altogether, which is absolutely insane. So how do we end the year? Plain simple, by doing a top 10 video, which is the top 10 best WWE superstars of 2022, or maybe greatest WWE. No, I think best would probably be best. Probably be better. I'm sure you guys will notice by the title of the video, but this top 10 list is probably the most obvious, but obviously I wanted to give you guys my top 10 list with a few honorable mentions, and some of them are for obvious reasons. But hopefully you guys are ready for this top 10 video. If you guys are, and you guys want to see more top 10 videos in the future, make sure you guys smash that thumbs up button, subscribe to the channel, turn on the notification bell, follow me on all my social media. The links will be in the description below, as will the info to my fan mail. It will also be in the description as well. And let's kick things off, obviously, with the honorable mentions. Kicking things off at number 5 is Seth freaking Rollins. Despite having 3 instant classic matches with Cody Rhodes at WrestleMania, at Backlash, and inside Hell in a Cell, and despite becoming a 2-time United States champion, and despite becoming the #1 contender for said U.S. title, the problem with Rollins is that he has lost literally every single premium live event match this year, which included WrestleMania, which included Money in the Bank. I would say SummerSlam, but of course that didn't, that match with Matt Riddle didn't come to pass until Clash at the Castle, which was obviously Rollins' only victory. So, yeah, obviously 2022 wasn't his best year, but it was his most entertaining, I will admit. That's why I have him in the honorable mentions, is because of that particular reason right there. Coming in at number 4, since we're on the topic of Austin Theory, number 4 in the honorable mentions is obviously Austin Theory. Yes, despite becoming Mr. Money in the Bank, a 2-time U.S. champion, his cash-in, his Money in the Bank cash-in was not the best. Obviously, he cashed in on Seth Rollins to attempt to become the United States champion, which was obviously the second best option. Of course, too, if he wanted to, he could have went after Gunther and the Intercontinental title, but he ended up going after Rollins. I will admit though, this year has been pretty interesting for Austin Theory, having a match at WrestleMania against Pat McAfee, having a couple of instant classics with Bobby Lashley. I gotta admit, this year has been pretty interesting, but it wasn't his year. He had lost quite a few matches in 2022. It just wasn't his year, to be in my honest opinion. But coming in at number 3 is the Nigerian Giant Omos. Yeah, Omos had a hell of a year. Obviously had won so many matches this whole year. Had a crazy match against Bobby Lashley at WrestleMania. Excuse me. And of course had a massive matchup with Braun Strowman at Crown Jewel, which was insanely good. By the way, shouts to Brisk for the lemonade. Not sponsored. Lemonade and pink lemonade, best juice drinks of all time. Do not at me in the comments. But with that being said, Omos, he had a good year, But to be honest, it was a little lackluster, mainly because of the fact that MVP, I feel like as if MVP is holding Omos back from truly reaching his potential. Yes, he may have gotten Bobby Lashley to that point, you know, to where he would become champion. The problem with Omos, as I am looking now on my Instagram story because I feel like it, the problem is that Omos still has a lot to learn about the business, and I think I don't think MVP is the right man to teach him about the business, in my honest opinion. But who knows? Maybe 2023 will be his year. Who knows? Only time will tell. Coming in at number 2, the former SmackDown Women's Champion Liv Morgan. Obviously, again, yeah, becoming Miss Money in the Bank, winning the SmackDown Women's title. She had an amazing second half of 2022, but the first half, it just was not her year. She may have had a few instant classics with Becky Lynch, you know, not just at WWE Day 1, but also at on Raw, you know, later on. The problem is that her time trying to become, you know, women's tag team champion with Rhea Ripley just did not work out, and it just was not her year. The first half of 2022 was not her year. But the second half, once she became SmackDown Women's Champion, she literally upped her game, and I think 2023 could potentially be her year. But coming in at number 1, RK Bro. Excuse me. Let's be honest here. RK Bro, arguably one of the most entertaining tag teams we've had since the New Day, and I think RK Bro did an amazing job in 2022. Obviously, in 2021, it was it had a rocky start, a little bit of a rocky start. But once Randy Orton, gave Matt Riddle the props, the respect that he that he definitely deserved, they went on to become tag team champions not once but once, twice, 3 times already. So that's pretty good. That's a pretty good year for RK Bro. Although, to be fair, we haven't seen Randy Orton since that night on SmackDown, and he literally just had fusion. I think fusion back surgery. I think, and we don't really know. We don't know exactly when Randy Orton will come back, nor do we know if RK Bro is ever going to come back at all. So, but I will admit though, this one I'll admit RK Bro definitely had a very interesting first half of 2022, but the second half was just not Matt Riddle's year. It was not his year at all. So that's why I put RK Bro in the honorable mentions, was because of that reason. But now we got to move into the top 10 list. So kicking things off at number 10 now is the now former SmackDown Women's Champion Ronda Rousey. Yeah, Ronda Rousey had a crazy year. This past year, winning the women's Royal Rumble match, going on to WrestleMania Night 1, challenging Charlotte Flair for the SmackDown Women's title, winning the title from Charlotte at Backlash in that I Quit match, obviously losing the title at Money in the Bank, which we knew that it was bound to happen because of the fact that Liv Morgan had the title. Obviously, the controversial ending at SummerSlam, Ronda Rousey regaining the title at Extreme Rules, and then of course too last night on SmackDown at the time that I am recording this, which is obviously Saturday the 31st, the end of the year, of course. It was a pretty crazy year for Ronda Rousey, but now that Charlotte Flair's champion, obviously it's crazy because Charlotte Flair started 2022 as champion, and now she's ending 2022, but starting 2023 as champion, which is absolutely, which is insane. I'll admit, yeah, Charlotte Flair becoming SmackDown Women's Champion, not what people were expecting, because obviously Charlotte Flair has won the the title 14 times, but you know what? Having Charlotte Flair take the title off of Ronda Rousey, I'm okay with it. You know, I mean, Ronda Rousey as a heel, I'm all for it, but all she's done is just taint the legacy of the SmackDown Women's title. And I think with Charlotte Flair as champion, I've got no doubt in my mind that Charlotte Flair will bring honor back into that title. Plus, for all we know, she can give Liv Morgan her, the rematch that she rightfully deserves. But only time will tell. But I will admit, this year has been crazy. Has been a pretty good year for Ronda Rousey, despite the loss at Money in the Bank, the controversial ending at SummerSlam. Despite all that, she definitely deserves to be in the number 10 spot. Coming in at number 9, the American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes. Obviously, 2022 was a pretty crazy year for the American Nightmare. Obviously, he left the promotion that he started. I think was it AEW. I don't watch it, but it's just from what I've seen on social media. Apparently, it was due to some creative issues, I guess. I don't know. Obviously, the rumors of Rhodes coming back to WWE after a 6 year hiatus was just absolutely. It was all over social media. The world was talking about Cody Rhodes potentially coming back to WWE. And when Seth Rollins found out that Vince McMahon was going to handpick Rollins' opponent for Night 1 of WrestleMania, we knew right then and there it was going to be Cody Rhodes, but we didn't know if it was truly going to be him or if it was someone else. And sure enough, it was Cody Rhodes. But he's had not one, not two, but 3 instant classics with Seth Rollins. WrestleMania Night 1, WrestleMania Backlash, and of course Hell in a Cell, which was arguably his best performance yet, hands down. And obviously, despite getting injured, I think 2022 was a good year for Cody Rhodes. So yeah, so it's for obvious reasons. Coming in at number 8 is probably the most obvious, but you guys are probably curious of why. It is none other than Carmelo Hayes. Yeah, Carmelo Hayes on NXT had an amazing 2022. Obviously, 2021 was pretty interesting for Carmelo Hayes. Obviously, winning the men's breakout tournament, cashing in on his former best friend Isaiah Swerve Scott to become the North American champion, competing inside of War Games on the winning side, of course. But 2022 was a good year for Carmelo Hayes because he put on an instant classic at NXT Stand and Deliver on the eve of Night 1 of WrestleMania, where it was a ladder match. And if I remember right, get my book out. If I remember right, it was Hayes, Cameron Grimes, Santos Escobar. Let's see. Carmelo Hayes, Santos Escobar, Solo Sikoa, Grayson Waller, and Cameron Grimes. Yeah, it was a pretty crazy year for Carmelo Hayes. But despite losing the title... Oh, how about that? How about that? My brother just texted me. Hang on, guys. Hang on, guys. My brother just texted me one know what's up, especially at this time of the morning. There we go. Anyway, Carmelo Hayes had a crazy year. Obviously, becoming a two-time North American champion. Having an instant classic in the men's Iron Survivor Challenge, which was not the outcome people wanted, but it was an outcome that we ended up getting. I gotta admit that this year has been amazing for Carmelo Hayes. He even had an instant classic with Ricochet at Worlds Collide, which was pretty cool. But I gotta admit, there were a few bumps in the road for the Trick Mellow game, but I gotta admit, Hayes had a pretty good year in NXT. Coming in at number 7 is the man Becky Lynch. Yeah, she started 2022 as Raw Women's Champion and as a heel, and ended 2022 as a babyface, which is obviously the Becky Lynch that we all know and loved so much. And even losing the title at WrestleMania, and also having several instant classics with Bianca Belair, not just at WrestleMania but also at SummerSlam. That this year has been crazy has been insanely crazy for Becky Lynch. Even also competing in War Games as well. Come on. We all know that Becky Lynch always puts on an amazing, always gives 100% every year. This year was no different. And even I'm one to admit, even if Becky Lynch, were to become a heel again, which I don't think it will happen anytime soon. I think honestly, I think any time of the year is going to be a good year for Becky Lynch. Obviously 2019 was her year becoming, truly becoming the man, becoming Becky Two Belts, becoming the longest reigning Raw Women's Champion of all time in a single run, holding the title for I think it was like well over 400 days, which is amazing. And that Becky Lynch having had to give up the title because of her pregnancy. It was insane. But 2022 was a good year for Becky Lynch. Coming in at number 6, Drew McIntyre. And I know what you guys are thinking. You guys are thinking, wait, why Drew McIntyre? Well, think about it. Think about it. He had quite the interesting year. Having re-encountered Brock Lesnar in the men's Royal Rumble match, having an instant classic with Roman Reigns at Clash at the Castle in Cardiff, having a crazy strap match with Karrion Kross at Extreme Rules. Come on, and even also putting on a banger of a match inside of War Games. I think it's safe to say that Drew McIntyre had a pretty entertaining year, in my honest opinion. But of course, too, if you guys think I'm wrong, you guys can let me know in the comments. But coming in at number 5 might be the most controversial because of what happened in the last couple weeks. But I threw her in here because of the fact that 2022 was obviously her year, and then number 5, it is Mandy Rose. I know what you guys are thinking. You guys are thinking, wait, why Mandy Rose? She's fired. Yes, she is. Yeah, she did get released from WWE. But the thing is that, but the thing is that 2022 was her year. She had arguably one of the most insane, one of the most historic years in NXT history. In fact, I don't even think Shayna Baszler would have had that kind of year at all. I don't even think. Asuka, I could definitely see Asuka having that kind of year if she was champion again. But Mandy Rose literally ended 2020, literally started 2022 as champion. But even though she ended 2022 being released from WWE, she proved that she proved that she was indeed the standard bearer of the NXT Women's Division in today's WWE. And now that Roxanne Perez is champion, excuse me, I have no doubt in my mind that Roxanne Perez is gonna be a great champion, a dominant champion, and a fighting champion no matter what. I have no doubt about that in my mind. But again, despite having lost the NXT Women's title, despite having gotten fired, Mandy Rose had a crazy year in NXT, in WWE. This was indeed her year, hands down. Coming in at number 4. Actually, these next 4 are probably the most obvious. But coming in at number 4 are the current undisputed tag team champions, the Usos. Yeah, I think it's safe to say that the Usos had a crazy time in WWE since Jimmy Uso came back, and this year has been amazing for the Usos. Every single title match that they've had, which involved their titles, they've won every single time. Whether it was the New Day, whether it was the Street Profits, whether it was Shinsuke Nakamura and Rick Boogs, whether it was the Viking Raiders, Hit Row, it didn't matter. They dominated with an iron fist. Even the Brawling Brutes as well. And now we know that next week on SmackDown, it's going to be Sheamus and Drew McIntyre against the Usos. This match was supposed to have happened several weeks ago, but we never got that match. We never got that match because of the fact that Drew McIntyre got injured inside of War Games, which was unfortunate. But to be fair, that's the nature of War Games. Once you step in War Games, the moment you step out, you are a different person. And I think Drew McIntyre proved it. He proved that last night on SmackDown when he came back, and I have no doubt in my mind that we could potentially see brand new tag team champions. But knowing the bloodline, it ain't gonna happen. But I gotta admit, this year has been crazy, has been amazing for the Usos. But coming in at number 3, since we're on the topic of champions, the NXT champion Braun Breaker. He had such an amazing year. Such an amazing year. I mean, think about this, guys. Think about this. Starting at New Year's Evil, he defeats Tommaso Ciampa, right, to become NXT champion. He ends up dropping the title. He ends up dropping the title to Dolph Ziggler via a triple threat match. And then if you look through my book, of course, he went toe to toe with Dolph Ziggler at NXT Stand and Deliver, an amazing, crazy instant classic. He ends up regaining the title the Raw after WrestleMania, and then you look at NXT In Your House. He went toe to toe with Joe Gacy, in which if Braun Breaker were to get disqualified, he would lose the title to Joe Gacy, which he was able to keep his own emotions in check, which was insane. Insane. You look at as well NXT Worlds Collide. He went toe to toe with Tyler Bate, who is the last ever NXT UK champion, and unified both titles. And then, of course, at Halloween Havoc, he had a banger of a triple threat match against both Ilya Dragunov and JD McDonough, which was insane. NXT Deadline was his year. NXT Deadline, he went toe to toe with Apollo Crews. Absolutely amazing. I mean, come on, you can't go wrong with the fact that NXT, that 2022 was Braun Breaker's year, and I've got no doubt in my mind that he'll probably be an NXT champion throughout 2023. But for all we know, Grayson Waller could potentially do something stupid and steal the title away from Braun Breaker, which is a possibility. But with that being said, coming in at number 2. I almost forgot. Speaking of top 10s, I completely forgot. If you guys missed my first top 10 video and yesterday's top 10 video, the first one I did was the top 10 best WWE matches of 2022. If you guys have not checked that out, I recommend you guys check it out. You don't want to miss what I had on that list. And of course, yesterday I did a top 10 of the best Yu-Gi-Oh sets of 2022. Definitely check that one out. I know some sets might be a bit controversial, but it was just based on my opinion. But with that being said, coming in at number 2 is the current Raw Women's Champion, Bianca Belair. Yeah, I mean, 2022 was her year. In fact, 2021 was her year as well. She had an amazing 2021. She had an amazing 2022. She started out she started out no longer champion, but she ended the year Raw Women's Champion, and now, now that Charlotte Flair is SmackDown Women's Champion, maybe we could see them go at it. Who the hell knows? But now we know that this Monday on Raw, it's gonna be Bianca Belair versus Alexa Bliss for the Raw Women's title, which it's possible we could see a brand new champion, but only time will tell. We will find out on Raw. But this year has been amazing for Bianca Belair. But coming in at number 1, probably the most obvious. Yeah. If you guys haven't figured it out, Roman Reigns. Do I even have to explain? I mean, come on. Started in 2022 as the Universal Champion, and ends 2022 as the undisputed Universal Champion. Do I even have to say anything else, honestly? I mean, come on, do I even have to explain? I don't think I do. But I do want your guys' opinion. This brings me to the question of the day, which is this. Who do you guys think had an amazing 2022, and who do you think should have been on this top 10 list? Who should have been in the honorable mentions list? Let me know down in the comments below. And that will do it for today's video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. If you did, make sure you guys smash that thumbs up button. If you guys are new to the channel and you guys want more top 10 videos in the future, make sure you guys subscribe to the channel, turn on the notification bell, follow me on all my social media. The links will be in the description below, as will the info to my fan mail. It will also be in the description as well. And on that, this is your boy Nash, signing out, and Happy New Year's, everybody.